Today we're going to go from the last lesson, which we ended up in the linking section, and it's called the linking section or linking move because it kind of takes you into the repeat section. And it's important for you to understand that the Dalu is comprised of various sections, and so instead of thinking of individual moves that are one after another, it's easy to get confused where you are in the form. But if you think in terms of a long section or a break-off point, that'll help you kind of like divide it up. And also, it makes it easier because you can just practice one section at a time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of piece the whole thing together for you by breaking it up into sections, and then you can kind of hopefully see which each section is, and then kind of reconstruct it all back together. And then we'll go into the repeat section from there. Okay, so we'll start from the beginning, and we'll take it from the opening section, which will comprise of the opening, and then the back and forth, and then the overhead block, walk in a circle, overhead strike, and then 1, 2, 3. And that's the end of the first section. Then the next section here will be just this little combination of moves: the low block, the low sweep, the pull back block, overhead strike, the pendulum swing, the block, and a horizontal strike. So again, you notice I'm ending in the same position as when I started that section. So again, let's take it, those two little sections. So the first opening section, and then this little section here with the blocks and the pendulum swing here. And so this will be the beginning of the second section, which will be the running section. Into the bounce and the hop. And then this is the linking move that we learned in the last lesson. Uppercut, uppercut, block, and that open uppercut into the horizontal strike. So again, we're in this horizontal strike position. Okay, let's do that one more time. So we haven't done the repeat section yet. Okay, the opening. Overhead block. Okay, and then this little linking section here. Okay, then the turnaround into the running section. Into the bounce and hop. Into the linking section. Okay, so from here, we're going to go do the repeat. You're going to repeat that from that all the way to when we ended up after the whole overhead strike, after the walk into this turn here. You're going to repeat the whole section on this side over here. So again, after we do the open block, the horizontal strike. So we're going to repeat that section. It looks like that. And then we do the turnaround. Crossover block. into the hop, bounce and hop. So that's where we ended up last time, into that linking 4-move uppercut. So again, I'll do it again, and I'll name the sections so you can kind of see a little bit better. Okay, the opening section. Okay, that little second section, which has the low block, pull back, pendulum swing, horizontal block. Now we go into the running section. Turn around, crossover block, into the bounce, and the hop. In the linking section that we learned in the last move. Okay, now this is the repeat section. And it's the window with that overhead, underhand, and from here, back here, we went into the linking. Okay, so in this second section, you do that linking move like we learned in the last session, but there's a change on the very last move. So from the overhead to the underhand, you do step to the left, like we did before, step to the right, the block behind you, and the change will be from here, step into a front-facing horse stance and overhead. And that overhead strike is like when you came out of the walking, you did overhead into a left forward bow stance. So from here, from the block, you're going to do just a front-facing horse stance with the overhead strike. So that's the second linking section before you go into the final 2 sections. So at this point, you're about 2/3 of the way through the staff form. So one more time and try to make it as clear as possible for you. And I'm going to point out kind of the key moments that you need to kind of remember into the linking, those linking sections. So the opening section, and then the second section, I kind of call it the second section because it has all the combination of moves that kind of flow from one to another. Okay, and then the turnaround section and the running section, which is the turnaround move. Into the bounce and hop. So you see how all those moves are done continuously together. And then the first linking section, uppercut, uppercut, block behind you, open uppercut, horizontal strike. So now you're into the repeat, and you take it from that second section that has a combination of moves. Now you're into the second turnaround and running section. into the hop, bounce, and hop. So here we're in exactly that same position as we were on the other side. Now you do the second linking section. Uppercut, uppercut, block behind you, and this time step into front facing horse with the overhead strike. So let's take that last linking section again. So you see the difference between the first linking section and the second linking section at the end of the repeat. So in the first linking session, you went from this position here, from the bounce and the hop, and you did a step to the left, uppercut, step to the right, uppercut, block behind you, and an open uppercut. And then the horizontal strike to the repeat section and all that. On the second section, when you do the bounce and hop over to this side, you're going to do exactly the same linking move except change the very last move. So it's going to be step to the left, uppercut, step to the right, uppercut, block behind you. This time you go overhead into the front facing horse. So now you're facing square forward, and so this move here is very similar to when you come out of the walking circle and you do left front bow with this overhead strike. So from here, you can do the block behind and you do that same move. So again, from the overhead, underhand, step to the left, step to the right, block behind you, and overhead. There's only one change in that linking, second linking move from the first one, and that's the change in the last strike. The sooner that you can start to see movements in terms of patterns, the easier it will be for you to learn the Dalu. You have to stop thinking of them as individual moves in these kind of running sections and think of it as like a section at a time, which will help you kind of get organized. Of course, it's also important to remember that they are individual moves, but that's the difference between rote learning, where you learn one move at a time, and sometimes people that are learning like with rote can't really see that the moves they're learning was actually a move they learned before. They think of it as a new move, but the more that you can kind of see movements in terms of what you already understand and what you need to learn, that'll help in your progression in your practice. So that's going to be the lesson for today. Thank you.